Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. It's me, Paul. I'm going to do the post-match reaction to the FA Cup third round game against Hull that we've all just watched, finished about half an hour ago as of this recording. Final result was Hull City 2, Everton 3. We got the win and we're into the next rounds of the Cup. Goodness knows who awaits us because there's a good mix of giants in there, and there's some lower league sides, I think a couple of non-league sides. There was some upsets today, and thankfully Everton weren't amongst them. I mean, we tried our damnedest, and a few other people, like the officials, tried their damnedest to make sure that we did go out of this cup today, but thankfully it wasn't to be. We got it done in the end, and I suppose the result is ultimately what matters. But in terms of what we all watched, there was nothing really there in terms of green shoots of recovery and something to cling on to, something to point at and think, right, if there's just more of that, then I think the second half of the season, in terms of league, how we get on in the Premier League, is going to be all right. It was the same old story, same old problems, really, wasn't it? We just had an opposition that weren't quite good enough to put us away when they had the chance. Hull City, second from bottom, I think, in the Championship they were going into this game. Took the lead on, I think, 48 seconds it was. I mean, we gave away a stupid free kick needlessly in our final third, I think, in the first minute, and they took it quite quickly. High ball into the box. Hull City player gets his head on it, wants to win it more than an Everton defender does. Lo and behold, what happens? It ends up in the back of our net, and Hull City are 1-0 up, and it just seems like it's written again, isn't it? The script's written. Everton are going to get knocked out here, and it's going to be another nail in the coffin of Rafa Benitez, and another nail in the coffin of just Evertonians' hopes for this football club ever really moving forward and doing anything. Thankfully, we got the equaliser through Demarai Gray. First 50 minutes of the game was not great. Hull probably could have scored again. Better team would have scored again and probably killed us off that early. But thankfully, we managed to get the ball under our feet, and a couple of players who are far, far better quality-wise than Hull's players were managed to show the quality. The likes of Gomez, the likes of Demarai Gray, the likes of Alan as well. I mean, they managed to get a grip of things and kind of spray a few passes around and calm everyone down. And thankfully, Demarai Gray got the equaliser with a really well taken placed goal in the far corner after he cut in from the left-hand side. And then not long after that, I think it was around the half-hour mark, again, we just kept the pressure up on Hull. They sort of retreated back into their own final third. They weren't really giving us much problem. They weren't really getting high up the pitch, really. They sort of sunk into a bit of a defensive shell, and thankfully we sensed the initiative and we kept the pressure on them. And nice little pullback from John Joe Kenny, found Andre Gomez in the box, who had a clear header, and he put it away to put Everton 2-1 up. It's a rare thing for Andre Gomez to score. It's probably one of the biggest things missing from his game. The fact that he doesn't get on the score sheet that often, and he doesn't really contribute in the final third that often either. But it was him who was in the right place at the right time to take Kenny's cross and just head it into the ground and get us the second goal to put us in the lead. We went into half-time 2-1 up, and coming out for the second half, it kind of looked more of the same. Everton weren't particularly playing well by any stretch of the imagination, but we were doing enough sort of thing. We were doing enough to keep Hull at bay, and Hull kind of didn't have any bright ideas. They were just kind of looking to win little battles where they could, little 50-50s, looking to get free kicks up the pitch, looking to get set pieces, and just throwing the ball into the box. And I don't blame them at all. That's what I'd tell my team to do if we were playing against Everton, a team that is probably the worst in the Premier League, certainly, maybe one of the worst in English football currently when it comes to defending set pieces. God knows how many set pieces we conceded now under Rafa Benitez. That was another one today, after not even a minute, was it? They ended up getting an equaliser, sadly. I mean, I don't particularly blame anybody for their second goal. It was just an absolute worldie of a hit from, I can't even remember the lad's name now. It was a substitution, I think, they brought on at the left back. He came on, found himself with a bit of space outside the box, and decided to just take it on himself. And he won't score a better goal his whole career. You won't see a Premier League goal in all season that's probably any better than that, or not miles better than that. That, for me, if that was a Premier League player scoring that, then that would be up there for goal of the season. The lad's it to put it beyond Begovic in the top corner. And sadly, it was 2-2. We went to extra time because we just didn't show anywhere near enough ambition or initiative to kill the game off in normal time and get the third goal. The manager wasn't proactive enough. His game management was terrible again for me. not making the right substitutions, not putting us in the right formation. I think we started with 3 at the back again. I have no clue why he persists with that. It does not work. It's never worked for Everton under any manager we've had post Moyes. Martinez tried it a little bit. Koeman tried it a little bit. Marco Silva, I think, tried it once or twice, and Ancelotti tried it a fair bit as well. And I can't remember a single good performance we ever put in under any of those managers where we had 3 at the back or 5 at the back when we're out of position, or out of possession rather. But yeah, we went to extra time, and thankfully Hull just ran out of legs. That's the only reason we ended up winning this game. We got the third goal through Andros Townsend, another absolutely stunning hit from him. Not sure how many yards out it was. I think it was at least about 30-ish. He always seems to score special goals, doesn't he? He's not a great goal scorer. He's a scorer of great goals, but I think this one had more to do with the goalkeeper just getting caught on his heels, and just it wasn't good for the goalkeeper. He'll want that one back. But Andros Townsend won't care. Evertonians won't care. We got the third goal, and I think other than a bit of a scramble in the box in a few minutes from time, where one of those players managed to react first and get his foot to it, a loose bounce, and Begovic had to pull off an instinctive save with his left arm. That was the only chance Hull really had of getting another equaliser and taking it to penalties. Everton controlled extra time, really, like we controlled large parts of the game. It's just the quality wasn't there. I mean, it should have been there. We had players who've got quality on the pitch, but they just didn't show it. And whether that's because they don't believe in the manager, whether that's because they're not getting used in the right tactical setup, whether it's just because they're mental weaklings who don't want it enough, it's probably a combination of all those things, isn't it? But Everton win the game and go into the next round without playing well. For me, they just played in good enough, and you don't have to be playing particularly well at all to be good enough to beat a team that's in the Championship, second from bottom, do you? So no, I'm glad we've won, but there's nothing in there that I take and I think, yeah, and that was a good day's work at the office, that, or this player particularly stood out for being really, really good. I mean, Demarai Gray, I thought, was really good in spells, but he also had spells where he just completely drifted out of the game. And I think by the final 10 minutes of normal time and extra time, he just started stropping, got himself into one of those moods we typically see from Richarlison, because he got caught offside, I don't know how many times, and he was stupid offsides as well. And I think Anthony Gordon started really well in the first half. He was causing all types of problems, but I think he tired and ended up again just drifting off into the periphery of the game. Who else? Mikalenko, the young lad's making his debut at left back for us, we've just brought in. I don't want to go in too hard on the lads, but I said in a video earlier this week that I hoped he didn't play in this game, because I thought it would just be too much pressure on him, and you just don't put him in that type of situation. You're going to have a team that knows the fans are on the back. You've got a manager who knows the fans are on his back. You know that there's a whiff of tension, a whiff of upset, a whiff of mutiny in the air. It just wasn't a good atmosphere. Not saying it was a bad atmosphere as in like no one was singing, no one was applauding the players, no one was getting behind them. But it wasn't a good atmosphere in the sense that just the atmosphere in general around the club is really, really toxic at the moment. And that's going to get carried into games that we play in. So I was hoping that Mikalenko would kind of sit this one out, along with Patterson, the other new lad, that we just wouldn't subject them to that. We'd let them get their feet under the table first, let them get a week or two solid training under the belt before we decided to throw them in and risk them. But Mikalenko, Benitez decided to give him his debut, and it looks like he's going to be a first teamer from now on, because there's no way back for Luca Dean, sadly. So it's just going to be Mikalenko's our first choice left back for the foreseeable future, if not for the long-term future. And Mikalenko, as I said, I don't want to go in too hard on him, but he definitely looked off the pace. He looked like a lad who was thrown into this game a week early, and he didn't do anything stand out bad. Like I don't want to sound like he was doing anything the way you'd think, oh my God, like this lad's useless, what have we bought him for? Or I'll get him off the pitch, he's absolutely crap today. I mean, some people are holding him responsible for the first goal. I've seen it again, but maybe he was the one sloppy giving away the free kick. But at the end of the day, when Hull are firing balls into the box like that, we've got a big lad like Michael Keane back there. Andre Gomez is a tall fella himself. We've got a big commanding goalkeeper like Asmir Begovic. They should be dealing with that against a team like Hull. Come on. Yeah, so I'm not going to blame Mikalenko for the fact we went 1-0 down, but I do think I was proven right, and everyone else who was saying the same were proven right. He shouldn't have been played in this game, and hopefully, because apparently the Leicester game Leicester have put in for that game to be pushed back, the one that's meant to happen on Tuesday night. If it does get pushed back, then it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. It gives the likes of Mikalenko and Patterson more time to settle and more time to kind of figure out what the manager wants from them. So I'm hoping that happens. Other players who are worth mentioning, I mean, Solomon Rondon. I've said my feelings about Solomon Rondon. He should be absolutely nowhere near this football club. I'm going to get me tea in a takeaway in a minute. I'm going to get a chicken burger. Solomon Rondon should be serving me that chicken burger as far as I'm concerned. He should be the guy behind the counter because he should not be playing professional football for a Premier League team, especially not Everton. I mean, I don't agree with people booing him onto the pitch type thing, but I don't blame fans who kind of just get frustrated at the sight of him when he's getting brought off the bench or when he's starting games and he's playing for 90 plus minutes. It's a joke. He doesn't offer anything. It's a hindrance to the starting 11 that he's on the pitch because the ball doesn't stick to him as much as it should do. He's non-existent when it comes to getting on the end of crosses. He's not an option for you to play through the lines because he doesn't make any runs, or any good runs at least. So I'm sick of the manager dying on that hill. If I was Lewis Dobbin or Ellis Sims, if they're watching this, I'd say to you, lads, don't bother signing a new contract. If this manager's going to play his mate from Venezuela, who is just absolutely incompetent as a footballer, at least at this level, and he thinks he's worth playing over you, then see you later, Everton, is what I'd be saying. I'm going to go for my career somewhere else under a manager who's fair and a manager who's going to give me a proper opportunity rather than just playing favourites all the time. But I don't want to sound too negative. I know it was a frustrating night. I know it was a horrible performance again in the grand scheme of things, but we won. We're into the next round. Hopefully we get an easier draw. Hopefully we get someone like Kidderminster at Goodison, and Kidderminster or some other lower league team or non-league team have a COVID outbreak and they end up not being able to play a reschedulement, and we just get a bye and we go into the next round easily. But that was all my thoughts about this game, really. We got through. Hull City 2, Everton 3. We're on to the next round.